The U.S. economy shrinks for the second straight quarter, which would historically signify we are in a recession. The White House denying that, though. Plus, a new interest rate hike and a package in the Senate that would spend hundreds of billions of dollars for climate and energy proposals through new taxes. Joining me to discuss it all, Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, welcome back to the National Desk. Great to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you have a long background in finance. How do economists determine when we're in a recession? Tell us what it means, and let's talk about why you believe the White House is making it a point to say we're not.
Well, first of all, everybody knows that a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. It's been that way for 90 years. Everybody knows this. It's not a secret. So what the problem is that the White House already knew that we were in a recession because consumer spending was coming down. It was actually one of the stronger parts of the first quarter GDP report. So they have to shape the politics because they don't want Joe Biden and congressional Democrats to take the blame because it is their economic policies, it is their energy policies that have led to this recession. So now they're trying to change the narrative. They're trying to redefine what recessions are. It is insane. It is a joke. Listen, words have meaning. You can't go around just changing the definition of things because it's not going your way. It is a recession. We all know that. We're here right now. And from the information I'm looking at, the economy is only going to weaken more. We're not strengthening at this point. We're going to see more weakness in our economy, but they don't want to take responsibility for their reckless spending that has contributed to massive inflation and a weakening economy. This is all at the hands of congressional Democrats and Joe Biden.
In his statement Thursday, the president said this. He said, quote, coming off of last year's historic economic growth and regaining all the private sector jobs lost during the pandemic crisis, it's no surprise that the economy is slowing down as the Federal Reserve acts to bring down inflation. So remember last year, inflation was transitory. According to the White House, this year inflation is Putin's fault, and now we're being told we should have known this was going to happen. Congressman, the bottom line, though, Americans are hurting. What will it take to get us out of this?
2 things. Number 1, Americans are hurting. Number 2, what the White House's statement is absolutely ridiculous. We should have been roaring out of the pandemic because we artificially shut down the economy. There was no reason to think that we were going to get inflation, except that when you spend massively. What it's going to take is the Federal Reserve is going to have to raise interest rates higher. Washington is actually going to have to cut its spending, and we're going to have to move through this inflationary time very, very slowly to get through it, to come to the other side. Families are going to feel pain, and they shouldn't even be going through this. But this is what happens when you have bad economic policy engaging in an economy that's really trying to heat up and get off its back because of the pandemic.
As you mentioned, a lot of Republicans say we don't need more government spending. So tell me about this deficit reduction plan that is likely to get passed in the Senate. How is it supposed to reduce the deficit?
No, that's a flat out joke. They're just saying it's going to reduce the deficit. They're just saying it's going to reduce inflation. It's going to do neither. What the Democrats have decided to do is to try to accomplish parts of their agenda because they know they're going to lose their majorities in the midterm elections. They call it the Inflation Reduction Act, but it does nothing of the sort. You're going to raise taxes on companies when we're in a recession. Yeah, that's smart policy. That never works. You're going to spend money on climate change in the middle of an inflationary cycle. That never works. They're committed to their agenda. There's no other way to say it. The voters need to understand something very, very simple, that if you spend money like this recklessly, when you're already in an inflationary environment, you're just going to get more inflation. You're not going to actually get inflation in check. You're not going to spur economic growth. You're just trying to accomplish your agenda because your agenda everywhere else has failed, and you're trying to get it done while you still have the votes. It's reckless, and it's disrespectful to the plight that the American people are facing.
Yesterday, President Biden had a lengthy and candid conversation with Chinese President Xi Jinping. We know they touched on several topics. Of course, a lot of that centered around Taiwan. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi potentially planning to visit that country, and that, of course, prompted threats from Beijing. First, I want to know, how should we approach China in regards to this fury over Pelosi possibly visiting Taiwan, and also China's ramped up pressure sending military aircraft into Taiwan's air defense zone as if they are ready to invade any day now?
Well, first of all, I think the Speaker of the House should continue to go. We should not acquiesce to China's saber rattling. We're the United States of America. The Taiwanese government has been friendly with our government for a very long time. we shouldn't just step away from that because the Chinese have other designs. We actually should show the world that we actually are friends with Taiwan. Number two, more importantly, we need to be helping Taiwan in many ways. China obviously wants to either A, invade, or B, control a lot of things going on with Taiwan, not just with their economy, but with the government overall. And we cannot just step back very lightly. People need to understand that the Taiwanese chip manufacturing or semiconductor manufacturing is vital to our interests here in the United States. The Chinese know this as well. We have to be a friend and an ally to Taiwan, and we can't become weak because of China's designs on Taiwan.
And to your point, by one measure, I just read this, a single Taiwanese company, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, has over half of the world's market when it comes to chip making. So I'm glad you made that point. Congressman Byron Donalds from the great state of Florida, we appreciate you joining us this morning on the National Desk. Hope you have a great weekend.
Same to you, anytime.